Here we go. So, yesterday, what you did was you plotted these points, identified the correlation, and we talked about correlation a little bit. So we said, Alex eloquently stated that correlation is a general pattern or trend within the points in the scatter plot. Alex Taylor said that. Yeah. So one thing that I actually wanted to add to this is just one word. It is that correlation is a measure of the general pattern or trend. So just add that to your notes. It's a measure of the general pattern or trend within the scatter plot. And in just a second, I'll talk to you about how the graphic, what the number for correlation means. So any lingering questions about correlation before we flip over and talk about lines of fit? So you bring up an interesting conundrum in the world of mathematics. Some people say lines of best fit. Some people say lines of fit. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't. So you can say whatever you want. Lines of fit, line of best fit, doesn't matter. That's probably a gym term, gym class term. So, drawing lines of fit.
Maybe you should get some of the homework.
Yeah. I
Math. There are 4 steps to drawing a line of fit. First step you already did. Plot your data. Second step. You got to decide if your data can be modeled with a line. So, decide if your data can be modeled with a line. How can you decide if it can be modeled with a line, Sean?
Try to say if it forms a line that
Yes, you are totally on the right track. Alex, what's he trying to say?
Well, if you can decide if your thing can be modeled with a line that, I guess, like, positive, negative correlation, it kind of goes one direction and the ones are kind of in a specific direction.
Is that what you were going for?
Like, no correlation, like,
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys are they're both exactly right. You basically look at the lines and see if they have a correlation. So if it has a positive or negative correlation. If it has no correlation, then it can't be modeled with a line, and so you can't draw a line of best fit. It's just not possible. Third step is draw the line. And you can't just draw any line. Hopefully, your line has an equal number of points above and below. Doesn't have to be an exact science, so an equal number of points or close. About an equal number of points above and below. That's your last step. You have to write the equation of the line. Here's a question for you. Does your line of best fit need to go through any of the points that you plotted?
No.
Doesn't need to go through any points. So if you flip over and look at this first graph here. Does it need to go through any of these 8 points?
No.
I'm hearing some yes, I'm hearing some no. Byron, why do you think yes? You just what?
I don't know. I just said, I don't know.
I mean, there's got to be some reason. Okay. It's a good argument. Sean, you say no, right?
Yes.
Why no?
Because say you have 2 points or every area is equally apart, draw a line in between them, and it's 2 parallel points the entire time, right in the center.
That's a great point. So, sometimes for this first graph on your warm-up, let's just think about drawing a line of fit through this line. So there's 8 data points here. You want maybe 4 above, 4 below, or something close. I don't know. Maybe it looks something like, I need a straight. Maybe it looks something like this. I just took something straight. And kind of eyeballed it. Mine has 4 points above the line, 4 points below the line. Yours doesn't have to look exactly like this, but it should be somewhat close. What don't you understand? Basically take a ruler. There's 8 points, and I'm going to cover up a few of them and draw my line. So you should get something like that for your line of fit. Questions about lines of fit? If you wanted to, you could pick some points on this line. You could pick some points on this line that and write the equation. So this negative sloping line looks like it. What does it look like its y-intercept is? My line. What? It looks really close to 1. And then what does it look like the slope of this thing is? -1. Yeah, go down 1, over 1. It looks like it's pretty close. So if you were to write an equation for graph number 2, it'd be something along the lines of y equals -x plus 1. You guys agree with that?
Leave it there.
You guys agree with that equation?
I agree.
How do the money question? How do you do this? So, turn on your graphic calculator and go to the stat button. It's right here. Go to the stat button. So now you see an edit. That's the first thing that comes up. Hit enter. And you should have a ton of different lists that come up. Stat is...
It's like the second one down in the
So if you have something in your, so let's do list 3 and list 4. So if you have something in your list 3 and list 4, you can scroll up to, what you can do is you can scroll up to the actual list name and hit clear, and then go down and all of your data will go away. Can't see it?
Is there a way I can do this on paper, or do I need a calculator?
You should use a calculator. So, okay, so go to, are you in the list? Okay, so go up to, so you should be scrolled like on the first entry. Okay, so exit everything out, click. Are you good, Brennan? Alright, Stat, edit, list. Go to list 3, go up, hit clear, and back down, and it'll clear your data. Then over to list 4, up, clear, and back down, all your data will be gone. So,
All of our data?
just list 3 and 4, because we're going to type in the data from the second part of the warm-up into our calculator. So in list 4 should be your X values. So like
Wait,
list 3. Is
List 3 is our X value?
that better?
No. It was better with 5.
Is that better?
I can't.
Man.
Yeah, 2 lines. There you go.
Alright. Good. So list 3 should be your X values. So -4. Once you enter an X value, hit enter. -3, enter. -1, enter. -0.5, enter.
You don't have to press enter.
I mean, I like to hit enter. 1, enter. 2, enter. 3.5, enter. 5, enter. Then scroll over to list 4 and enter in the corresponding Y values. So 5, 3.5, 2, 1, 0, -0.75, -2.5, -3.
I can't see it.
So it should look something like that.
And the wait, list
Okay.
4 is our...
List 3 is your X, list 4 is your Y. Okay? So now what you can do, if you want to see these graphed, click the second button, second, Y equals, this gives you your stat plot. So click on, so all of your plots should say off. Click on the first one. Second, Y equals. Plot 1, hit enter, and then it should be scrolling on, hit enter on the on. For the type, you want this first type. If it's not there, hit enter.
Oh, wait, what do we press after we finish filling out the XML?
Yeah.
Okay.
First one,
Yeah.
Guys, stop. That's enough. This is going to make your life so easy. So easy. So if you shut down now, your life is going to be miserable the next 2 days. So make your life easy and just go through this process step by step. So you click second, Y equals. Click on that first plot. Then hit on, scroll down to type, hit that first type. Then go down to your X list. So to choose your list, hit second, and then you'll see that in blue above the 1 is an L1, in blue above the 2 is an L2, above the 3 is an L3. So click 3 because our X list is L3. Okay? And then the same thing with the Y. Second, 4. And then you want your mark to be this this big bold one. Okay?
How do you make it L3 and L1?
So click second, and then 3 for L3, and then down to the Y list, click second, number 4.
So we have to turn the other plot off too, or just...
No, just that plot.
Same here, I'm gonna figure all this and I'm gonna.
You can totally Google it. You can totally YouTube it.
Yeah, and you can totally email us the license.
Well, I was getting it to why.
So then now go to the graph, your graph function. If your window's bad, just click. Sorry. So click your graph. If it doesn't show up, that's fine. Go to the zoom button, and then click 6. So you should get something like that. Yes, sir. So you should click on Y equals, and then clear your equations that are in there.
Okay, I kinda got it from mine.
Here's the really important one.
Oh, and then do we do like stat equation and something or other, blah blah.
So, here's the really important thing. So now, second mode to clear out of the graph. Now we're going to learn how to do the equation part of it.
I have a question.
Yes?
When you're putting the numbers in for like R1 and stuff, like how do you choose the numbers?
Like when you're actually entering them into your tables, you choose the numbers that are in your table. So X values are in one row, column, Y values are in another. So now, the first thing we have to do, you do not have to do this step every time. You just need to do this step right now. So click second, 0, and it takes you to something called the catalog. You need to scroll all the way down to the D's. And you're looking for something that says diagnostic on. You have a diagnostic off and then diagnostic on. You should click, once you're down to diagnostic on, hit enter.
Okay.
I see
My
diagnostic
line
on.
anymore is that error and like not only options to quit.
I'll take a look at it later. So go to diagnostic on, and then hit enter. So then, once you hit enter, which I'm going to do in 3 seconds, it should just come up like that. Now hit enter again, and it'll say done. Now that's the only time you have to do that with that calculator. Hit enter. Okay. Now here's the big part. Here's the big part. The equation. So you go back to your stat button and click stat. Now, you don't want the edit menu, you want the calc menu. So scroll over one to calc, and you're going to see number 4 says lin reg with AX plus B. That stands for linear regression. You press enter. Now, if you just hit enter again, don't hit just enter again, but if you hit enter again, it just automatically defaults to list 1 and list 2. But we chose list 3 and list 4. So you should do second L3, comma, second L3, comma, or sorry, second 3, second 3.
How you do comma?
There's a comma button right underneath the sign function, or above the 7.
Yeah.
And then second 4. So you should have linear regression, AX plus B, and then L3, comma, L4. Second 4.
When are we gonna remember this?
So just clear it out, and then go back to stat, calc, click it. So now, once you have all that plugged in, hit enter, and it'll come up, with all these things. This A value represents your slope of the line of fit. Your B represents the y-intercept. This R squared value is just this R value squared. This R value is what we call the correlation coefficient. This is the measure of correlation. So this number is anywhere between -1 and 1. If it's -1, that means your line, your data points are perfectly linear with a negative slope. So your line should go through all of the data points. If it's 1, that means your data is perfectly positive. It's perfectly linear with a positive slope. So if you flip over to the equation that I wrote down, y equals -x plus 1, the actual equation of the line of fit is y equals negative 0.89x plus 0.99. So it's pretty close.
This one is better, and I think that one is better,
So I mean, so I know that this was confusing. I know that this was confusing.
Can you write it down on a piece of paper for me?
I can write down the steps for you for tomorrow.
Step by
Yeah.
Yeah, put them on your
We have
website.
homework tonight.
You have brief homework. So here's another thing that you can use to help yourself out. In your algebra book, between section 6 or 5.6 and 5.7, there's the same tutorial, and it writes it out for you step by step. In between sections 5.6 and 5.7. So read your book. Yeah, it's on. Oh, I'm going to clear everything. I want to input this data table into my calculator. So I have years as one variable and CD singles that are sold as another variable. Just click it.
Well, wait, how did we get our equation? Where is our equation?
You have to find the equation.
How do you find it?
The process that we just did.
Yeah, I know, but is this the equation?
Yeah.
We all love you in class.
So there's a value that says A, that A is the slope. There's a value that says B, that B is the
So
y-intercept.
we write down all those numbers in the
table?
Yeah. So we're writing these numbers, putting these numbers into our calculator. So,
well, yeah, actually.
I mean, so first thing, hit stat. That gets you to the edit. Hit enter. This takes you to your list. So we'll use list 1 and list 2 this time. That's weird. So just choose a different list. Huh? We can use list 3 and 4. You want to use list 3 and 4? Alright, let's use list 3 and 4. So go up to list 3.
Oh, I already deleted that.
Okay, that's good. Delete it. Go up to list 4, hit clear. So you should be empty. In list 3, type in the years, because that's going to be our X. So 1993, 1995, 1996, and 1997. Go over to the singles sold, or list 4. That's where you're typing in the number of singles sold. So 7.8, 22, 43, and 67. That's fine. That's okay. So now once you have the 4 data points plugged in, second mode that just clears you out of the data, that just clears you out of the table. Yeah, second mode that just clears you out of the table.
Wait, after we get the table, I forget what we...
Okay, after you get the table, here's what you do. Ready? Ready? Okay, I'm waiting. You've typed in your table. Now go back to stat. You should come up with the same menu. Scroll right to the one to the calc menu. You can either scroll down to 4 or click the number 4 to get your linear regression. Okay, don't hit enter. You shouldn't hit enter because it will default to list 1 and list 2. Oh, okay.
No, we do this.
Okay, so now, to say you want your X list to be list 3, go second 3. And it comes up as list 3. Comma. We separate X and Y values with commas.
Wait,
How do you comma? There's a comma button just above the 7. So now you go second 4, for your y values. That's list 4. And then you hit enter. So the equation then, so we take our equation right from the calculator.
What's interpolate and extrapolate?
Oh, that's a great question. So our equation, at least according to my calculator, is going to be y equals a, which is 14.451 times x, plus b, which is a negative 28799.26. Something like that. Right?
I love calculators. They make it easy.
So now, West asked, so the first thing that we have to do is interpolate the number of singles sold in 1994. What do you think the word interpolate means?
Find.
Estimate, find, both things.
Predict.
Predict. All valid things. All valid. What do you think the difference between interpolate and extrapolate is? What is the difference? So 1994 is in between 1993 and 1995.
So you find
So
things.
it's in between points that are in your data set. Interpolate means predict in between your data set.
Oh, and then extrapolate means put it outside.
Outside your data set. So if you ever see the word interpolate, it means it's something inside your data set, contained within your data set. Extrapolate means you're predicting something outside your data set.
So you use your equation and you plug 2000 in somewhere and that will be the
Yeah.
answer.
So, if I want to interpolate the number of singles sold in 1994, what variable represents the number of singles sold? Wait. What do we,
Wouldn't it be X?
the year?
Or I mean Y.
The year is what we put in for X. So we're going to plug this 1994 in for X. So we're actually looking for Y. So we want Y equals 14.451 times the year, 1994, minus 28799.26. You can do that on your calculator. Someone tell me what you get.
Wait, why is there?
Because yeah, you can just clear. Or you can
Oh,
just
it's
add.
negative.
It's a negative up there. I got something along the lines of 16.034. So there's about 16 million CD singles that were sold in 1994. That's our prediction. If that's true or not, we don't really know. Yeah, 16 right around there.